1.5 inch wheel spacer on both sides. Welcome back. So I'm gonna try to get these wheel spacers installed today. And if you haven't been following my channel, I'll give you a little reason why I'm installing these, because I don't really need them for stability. The tractor feels pretty stable to me, but then again, I'm here in northern Michigan, and where I'm at in Michigan, it's flat. So that's not really the whole concern for me. For me, it's more clearance when installing implements because of the way this is set up. I have R4 tires on the tractor, and whenever you put an implement on and you're tightening these turnbuckles up, those ears want to get into that tire. So that's the main reason that I end up purchasing these wheel spacers. And these are Bora. The reason I chose Bora over the John Deere was when I went to John Deere to ask them how thick their spacers were, I couldn't get a definite answer on how much space or how much they were going to space the wheels out. But this thing only being 25 horse, I really didn't want to have a real wide track on there to where the implements aren't going to cut the wheels out. So I chose to go with some 1.5 inch spacers, and that way it will just put it out enough to where those ears aren't hitting the tires anymore as I'm trying to tighten them up. I'll include the information of these spacers, where I purchased them at. They were $129 and some change each, plus $25 shipping. Bought them off eBay. I'm gonna quit flapping my jaws, try to start getting this thing tore apart where we can get these installed. So there's no directions that come with these. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. Take your tire off, you put it on, put bolts in, torque them, put your tire back on, put bolts in and torque it. Talked to them at John Deere about the bolts, if it was a dry torque or a wet torque, as far as what it calls for in the book. And it is a dry torque, just to let you guys know. I guess also another reason I chose the Bora wheel spacers was there's a place downstate called Good Tractor Works, and they sell the Bora wheel spacers, and I thought, well, somebody else is using them on tractors, so I figured why not. I do have the tractor in first gear low range and the brakes locked. Should probably have a jack stand. I went and got something just in case it did fall, and a ratchet. Brought home the torque wrench. And the book says, now this is my book, it says 162 foot-pounds for these. So I'm going to do them in 3 stages, cross pattern. There's that. Now the fun part, try to get this tire back on. There's no airflow in there. Well, 30 minutes later I got the one put on. Doesn't look too bad. Looks like that's already giving me quite a bit more clearance down here. We'll just have to try it out after I'm all done. With that being 162 foot-pounds of torque on those bolts, I'm fine with that going into that steel flange. I don't know if I'm okay with it going into that aluminum spacer. I'm gonna slowly increase the torque a little at a time, see how close I can get. And I know I'm probably gonna lose some from the 12-inch extension to reach the bolts. It'll be all right. Well, it made it to 162 foot-pounds. Sort of worried, but did just fine. Never mind the jack handle. I did jack the tractor back up, and the reason I did that was if that wheel was going to slide onto that spacer anymore, I didn't want it binding on the ground. I wanted it to just freely go in there. It went in a little bit. All right, I think I'm gonna get started on this other side. Well, that messed up a couple hours. Got called into work. So now I'm gonna see if I can get this other side changed before the sun goes down. Well, that second one didn't take near as long, even on my end. So let's take a look at it. 1.5 inch wheel spacer on both sides. And I'm gonna slide this ballast box up here and see what it looks like. Well, I think that took care of my issue of those ears being so close to the tires and making it a real pain in the butt to tighten them turnbuckles up. I think this is going to work out really good. I only widened the width of the tires 3 inches. By going at 3 inches, I did measure the tires, the outside of the tire tracks, and at 3 inches, I'll still be inside the widest part of the disc that I've got. So as long as I keep it centered, I should be able to cut my tracks out. Best advice I can give anybody if you're trying to do this yourself is to take the time to make sure you line up the wheels with the spacers as far as your bolt holes. That way you don't take a chance of cross threading one of the bolts into that aluminum spacer. Hopefully these things are going to work out good. Time will tell. Question that was asked in one of my comments on one of the, I guess it was my last video about the fishing trip, was what does RSM stand for? So RSM is my initials. That's all it is. And I guess I haven't told anybody what my name is, have I? My name's Randy, and I guess to give you guys a little bit of a background on myself, I became a marine mechanic, and then I quit doing that, went and done some construction, and then industrial maintenance for 10 years at a plant in Tennessee. Then I moved up here to Michigan, and now I'm doing plant maintenance. And that's what I do on a every day-to-day basis. That's why I had to leave in the middle of putting these on. So there's a little information about me, just thought I'd throw it out there. So you guys have a good one. Thanks for watching. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask me in the comments, and I'll try my best to answer them.